and welcome to a surprise conclusion video for your Vibrato Boot Camp. This video came as a spontaneous decision after the recent Cello Tip Tuesday Vibrato themed live stream. So many of you dolls came with excellent questions and enthusiasm and real interest in vibrato, and you didn't seem to mind that on my end it was pitch black, there was a thunderstorm going on, my internet reception was spotty, and I looked like a Baroque era cello teacher instructing by candlelight. Well, I did feel bad about that. I know a lot of it was out of my control, but I still really wanted to make it up to you dolls because that live stream was being planned for a month. You guys had 4 weeks of a boot camp and I didn't want to let you guys down. So you're getting a bonus video with tips inspired by your questions on what to do and how to keep growing even after the Vibrato Boot Camp. So before I get to these tips, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up, a like, and subscribe to the Cello Doll YouTube channel. Every doll, every subscriber is adored by myself and Shelly, and your encouragement is amazing. If you want to go above and beyond, get some exclusive cello doll content like MP3s, discounted cello lessons with Shelly and I, check out my Patreon using the link below, and you can join our VIP doll crew. So first, I talked about some of the key takeaways you cannot forget from the Vibrato Boot Camp. One of them came inspired by a question: what if vibrato feels easier on one string versus the other? Maybe your A string is nice and cozy, and as you get to the C string, you can't wiggle as much. If you're finding some inconsistency between your strings, here's the culprit: the left elbow. So I talk about this a bit in the boot camp, but having that elbow elevated and supported is so crucial. Notice I didn't say as high as you could go because that is too much. We want to find something in the middle where we have this nice even line. Look at that. You can test it with your bow carefully. Nothing is dipped, nothing is bumpy. It's a nice even plane. It's a malleable plane, right? We're not rigid and trying to hold it like a plank. Just think of it as a nice even level arm. And this concept is also true for regular cello playing as well. I know my students have heard it from me: support with the elbow, support with the elbow. And what I mean by that is your elbow has to be like a car jack, adjusting the height as you go up the strings and down the strings. Notice they're not huge adjustments. So if I'm doing some vibrato, so I'm doing 3 and 4, my arm is too low. Do you hear it loosening up? Too high? Oh, I really don't like the sound of that. I want to stop. So what you can do is a similar exercise to what I just did. Gauging your elbow height and listening for that sweet spot where the vibrato is supple, it feels comfortable. Do it a few times a day over a couple weeks, and you will eventually get the muscle memory for that sweet spot. So one more time, I'm going to do it on my D string. Up, too tight. Ooh. Okay, so don't be afraid to take some time to really explore and train your ear. So another reason we want that left arm to support is if our hand doesn't feel secure, the thumb is going to grip and hold on, and that's going to result in tension. So if you feel pulling here in your hand by that bumpy thumb muscle, pulling here on the tendon under your arm or above your arm here, those are some common results of thumb tension or tension in the left hand. So If you find that is happening, stop, take a break, maybe the rest of the day off, because that is extreme muscle fatigue. If you want to avoid that, do some thumb taps. This is something I didn't get a chance to put in the boot camp. This is kind of a more advanced exercise, but the boot camp prepares you for advanced success. So hold a vibrato note and underneath your neck, do some light taps. Tap, tap, tap. Let's zoom in on that bad boy. Tap, tap. Notice it's not coming out all the way. It's staying close to home. They're just light. This is something to not do for minutes and minutes and minutes a day, just once for a couple minutes. And if the thumb is squeezing, you're not going to be able to tap or move the thumb. So if you're still really squeezing a lot, review our shrinking slides, right? Where the thumb is allowed to move and be free, and you might need some more time on that step. So I'm going to show you once and narrate how often my thumb taps. Tap, 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 tap. Notice how I didn't go super fast, like tap, 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 tap. It's nice and slow and relaxed. So now, some of the questions you dolls asked during the live stream: where on the finger should the string be when I vibrate? Should I be on the tip of my finger? Should I be on a smushy part of my finger? So that's an excellent question. On the hand, you want the string to be in the squishy middle part of kind of where your fingerprint is. We call that the pad. So you don't want to be on the tippy tip point of your finger, because you're not going to feel that secure landing you need for a wide oscillation. And you don't want to be too low by the knuckle either. You want to be, again, in the center of where your fingerprint is. So if you find you're trying, but you keep going back to being on the point, your elbow, see, we're coming back to the elbow, it might be too physically close to the instrument. So the more I come in, my fingers want to curve like a tight rainbows, tight tunnels, whatever you want to call it. So open up a little bit with the elbow. That will allow your fingers, I don't want to say flat, they will allow you to access the pad, because we also don't want wet noodle fingers, okay? So you might need to experiment with this hinge. Notice I'm nothing with the shoulder, okay? The shoulder doesn't do this movement. It's the elbow. Yes, my hinge opens and closes here, but my shoulder's not proactive, okay? A little bit, like an inch and a half an inch, an inch, it's a tiny bit. So another question I got in the live stream was, how many wiggles do you do in a quarter note? So it depends on your tempo, because if you are going fast, you're not gonna have much time other than a couple wiggles. If you have a slower tempo that's more lush, you can have a slower, wider vibrato where you can fit more oscillations. So, some of you dolls might have recognized that as Saint-Saëns the Swan, and that is an example of a piece where you are expected to vibrate on every single quarter note. So it depends on your tempo. Also, especially when you're just starting out with vibrato, I really encourage you to dial back the tempo on your pieces, play them a little bit slower, and just concentrate on an easy, constant vibrato. There isn't an exact number to aim for. The goal is to have a constant movement that is fluid and comfortable. I know in the boot camp we do some singles and some doubles, so you can try to go beyond the 1 and 2, maybe 3 wiggles, 4 wiggles, and then a free oscillating wondrous vibrato on your scales. Scales are an excellent way to practice vibrato. So take one of your scales, really focus on, yes, the tone always, but is it constant, or am I kind of jittery here and there over the course of the note? So if I were to play G major scale, this A. How's my arm? Is it up? Yeah. Do I have a kink in my wrist? It looks pretty level. Onward. What about those finger pairs? 2 and 3? Yes. Okay, and you can go through your scales narrating in your head or aloud like me, however you want to do it. Focus on the scales first, and that will transition well into your playing. But don't think you have to focus on a number every single time. Use the number of wiggles as building blocks to that ultimate goal of a constant vibrato. All right, my dolls, so I really hope you found those tips helpful and that they give you some encouraging ways to challenge yourself now that you might have made it through the boot camp and you want to see what the next steps are. And also, vibrato is a constant thing you will be searching for in your life, that right vibrato for this one piece. The top professionals in the world are constantly thinking about ways to have different types of vibrato. So don't worry, you will always be working on your vibrato. I really hope you get to the point where you can start incorporating it into your pieces, because that is what all the work is for. That's what everyone seems to really want to do with vibrato. I want to put it in my music. I want to incorporate it. So I really hope if you've done the boot camp, you feel ready to start exploring these other ways to practice your vibrato. And if you haven't tried out the boot camp, I'm gonna put a little link in this video that you can click on and try the boot camp. It's 4 weeks, completely free. It's going to be on this YouTube channel forever. Either way, have a beautiful time practicing, my dolls, and we'll see you for another video adventure. We got a lot of stuff up our sleeve, so stay tuned and we'll see you soon. Bye!